Hey guys, this is No Solution. I'm Scott, and this is my response to Sam St. John's thread that he started about 5 late career masterpieces. I tried to approach this like with a 20-ish year time span from when the band started to when this late career masterpiece came out. And I tried to stay away from ones I've seen other people show. So if I have repeated somebody in this, I'm sorry I didn't see your video before I made mine. So let's get right into it. I thought this was a really cool idea, and I had a bunch of candidates for it, but these are the ones I settled on. So first one is Celtic Frost with Monotheist. It's the shirt I'm wearing also that I saw them on this tour. And yes, I say Celtic Frost. The reason I say Celtic Frost is because that is how the band pronounced it from 1984 or whatever they started until basically until before the reunion. And then all of a sudden it was Celtic Frost, and we're all just supposed to say Celtic Frost. No, you're Celtic Frost to me. Sorry, I'm not changing. Merciful Fate have misspelled their name for their entire career. They wouldn't now just come back and say, oh, actually we misspelled it when we didn't really know English that well. Now we're going to spell it this way. No, it's Celtic Frost. Okay, guys. Anyway, that has nothing to do with this. The band broke up in 92, I believe. And were kind of had hit the skids as far as fan interest and appreciation was concerned. They reformed and made a demo called Prototype in 2002 that is freaking awful and embarrassing. And luckily, I mean, it's been out on bootlegs now, but so in other words, what I'm trying to say with this came out in 2006. This was not a sure thing that this was going to be any good, because they were experimenting with hip hop and weird electronics, and it was not this band. And if that had come out, I think it would have been even more of a laughingstock than Cold Lake, which was their previous laughingstock when they sort of experimented with commercial glamish type hard rock. So what this is the heaviest thing they ever put out. A lot of kind of death and black metal influences on this. Just a crushing sound, and yeah, just killer from front to back. So whenever I think of a comeback album that wasn't a letdown, I think of this. Like this ranks right up there. This might be my favorite I know that's kind of blasphemy, but it might be my favorite Celtic Frost album. They did break up soon after this, and Tom Warrior moved on to create Triptychon, which is basically a continuation of this sound. But yeah, so that's my first late career masterpiece, Celtic Frost with Monotheist. This is Ginger Wildheart, and the name of the album is 555%. So this was initially started as a Pledge Music solo project from Ginger of the Wildhearts fame. I mean, he's basically the band. He's the songwriter, he's the guitarist, he's the vocalist. And Wildhearts have had a tumultuous history of getting together and putting out an album and breaking up and never going to reform, and then 5 years later they reform and rinse repeat. They're actually now they put out an album I think last year and have already broken up again. So anyway, this was his solo deal. The reason it's called 555% is because that was the final tally after the Pledge Music campaign was done. It had reached 555% of its goal. So Ginger was just inspired to keep writing and recording, and this is the limited edition. If you were a Pledge donor, this is a 3-disc set. It's like 2 hours and 10 minutes, 30 songs, and it's just incredible. It's just, he's such an awesome songwriter, such a varied taste in where he takes the songs as well. There's hard rock, there's kind of Americana / country, ballads, just anything you can think of. And yeah, this is awesome front to back. This one I don't think you can get anymore. You may be able to get it digitally. He put out a retail version called 100% that is only 12 of the 30 songs. But late career masterpiece, I don't think I said, came out in 2012, and the Wildhearts started like in the late 80s. All right, this one, I see it pop up now and again, people find it in discount bins, and I'm sure you can still find it in discount bins everywhere. This is Yes with Talk. This came out in 1994. Kind of not exactly an organic release from the band. Written mostly by Trevor Rabin with John Anderson. So this came out after the very artificial, forced reunion. I don't know if you know the history of the Yes drama. There were kind of two Yes lineups going on at the same time, and they were each working on albums, and then the record company convinced them to kind of come together and merge their songs onto one album called Union, and then they all toured together. Pretty much everybody involved in that disowns it and said it wasn't right and not something they agreed with doing. But anyway, after all that was done, this was Trevor Rabin and John Anderson's project that they ended up using Chris Squire, Tony Kaye, and Alan White on. So it's the lineup from the 80s 90125 album that gave us Odor of a Lonely Heart and kind of the pop Yes of the 80s. And this is like the perfect blend, in my opinion, of that sound and like the progressive sound of the early Yes stuff. Super, super catchy, great hooks, has that kind of Trevor Rabin sheen on it, but also some really cool extended progressive parts. And this is another unpopular opinion. This is the Yes album I listen to most. This is one I always have in any MP3 player I have carrying around with me, or in my car, or if you haven't heard this one, I would urge you to check it out. This is definitely one that most people would overlook from Yes, but I really like it. All right, this one, Devin Townsend, Lightwork. This is his brand new release from 2022. Shining right off that. I was a little not sure if I should include this one because I don't think Devin Townsend has had many missteps. But this one, I don't know. It really, my high expectations were exceeded with this one. I just love this one so much. This was probably maybe should have been my number one of last year. If Marillion had not released an album, it definitely would have been my number one. Not strictly a concept album, but definitely a theme running through it of mental health. And again, lots of variation, lots of really beautiful parts juxtaposed with heavy parts. If you are not a fan or do not know Devin Townsend, I would say you can start with this one. I mean, this it's one of his best releases in my opinion. So, and if you have heard him before and kind of fell out of love with him, give this one a shot because I think it might bring you back in. And then my fifth one, of course, I have to do a Marillion album. This is Fear from 2016. This is the Fancy Pants. I think it was Pledge Music at the time, Pledge Music edition. Comes in this slipcase, signed by the band, and then there's the actual book there. So this is, depending how you count, like the 19th album or something like that. And when I heard this the first time, I was like, what is this? It just kind of goes from like movement to movement in these long songs, and there's no choruses, and I was lost. But as happens with me a lot, usually if I hear an album and love it right away, I kind of fall out of love with it. Like I feel like I got it, and then it just it's kind of diminishing returns as I listen to it more and more. This one, I didn't care for at first, and now I just think it's a masterpiece all the way through. So yeah, definitely a late career masterpiece. Marillion, I like all the albums, of course, but not all of them have been, shall we say, flawless, but this one I believe is. So check it out if you're curious. All right, it's a cool idea for a thread, Sam, and I enjoyed doing it. So thanks a lot. See you in the next one.